Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Exam Tricks and Tips. This comprehensive series is designed to prepare you for the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. Welcome to episode 6. We'll be covering question number 41 to question number 45 in this particular episode. Let's start with the questions. Question number 41. Elasticity in the cloud refers to which of the following? It's a short question. We have to choose two answers. Please read the question and mark your keywords. And if you know, mark your answers as well. We'll dive into analysis in a while. I hope you read the question and mark the keywords. So here is my version. There's only one keyword, elasticity, and we want to identify which of the following statements, two of these, actually refer to elasticity. Let's go one by one. So the first one, how quickly an Amazon EC2 instance can be restarted. Now, it's not actually a measure of elasticity, it's the measure of resilience. If you have your application, you've got on your EC2 instance, if it goes down, then obviously it relates to resiliency, reliability. It doesn't relates to elasticity. So it's an incorrect option for me. Let's move on. Option B, the ability to right size the resources as demand shifts. Now, this sounds elasticity. Elasticity is exactly that automatic scaling of resources, whether it's EC2, whether it is your storage, or whether it is your server capacity, compute capacity. Elasticity is the ability of cloud-based system to automatically scale up or down based on the demand. So this is one of the two correct answers according to me. So we'll select this, and then let's see what else we have. The next one, let's look at next option, option B, ability to right size the resources as demand shifts. So this sounds like the correct answer. Elasticity is the ability of cloud-based system to automatically scale up or down based on the demand. That's what one of the most important aspect of cloud. When your demand goes up, you don't have to, always have those many servers, that much compute capacity. As long as you have automatic scaling on and you're using the right type of resources, it will scale up. When your demand goes down, when you don't have peak hours, it will go down. Obviously, it saves you the resources and saves you the money, and you don't have to kind of always size for the maximum load. So this is correct answer for me. This is elasticity. Let's move on and see what about the next one. The next one is talking about the maximum amount of RAM of an EC2 instance can use. So exactly, we just mentioned to it. You don't have to. This is not a correct answer for me. Elasticity does not mean that. In fact, it's exactly opposite. You don't have to right size the system and select an element of storage or RAM or cache. You need to. This is not an elasticity feature. It's a hardware limitation, and elasticity is exactly opposite, and that we're seen in option B. So this is incorrect answer for me. It's a limitation. We don't have to, put loads and loads of resources just to cater for a day of peak traffic. The next one is option D, the pay-as-you-go billing model. Now, it's a billing model. It's nothing to do with elasticity. It gives you flexibility in terms of commercials, and it helps you minimize your upfront investment. You don't have to buy the servers and the hardware and the memory and the network cable and the routers, etc. upfront. You can just take an AWS account, configure resources, and then you will pay in a pay-as-you-go mode. It's a billing model. It's a flexibility you get in terms of how you pay in case of AWS cloud or any cloud model, to be honest. So it's nothing to do with elasticity. So I rule that out for that reason. The last one, how easily resources can be procured when they are needed. We need two options, and this appears to be the second correct answer. It is an aspect of elasticity, like, suppose you suddenly see and you have an application, it's working okay, you have auto scaling on with some sort of limits on it, business is doing extremely well, customers want it, and you think now you need to adjust the auto scaling aspect to have a upper limit. You can do that. You don't need to wait for resources. You don't need to buy hardware, design hardware, then do the infrastructure design and put it all together. I've been part of the projects where the biggest critical path in terms of project management used to be putting hardware together, and it could come up with a number of practical problems, and it's a nightmare. Completely building a completely new application where we don't have the hardware available in your own data center. So yeah, this is an answer for me. This particular option means you can spin up new instances, add storage, increase network bandwidth in just a few minutes. This flexibility is absolutely amazing, and it's one of the most important benefit of cloud. And this is why most of the application owners and businesses are moving to cloud, because they don't want to have the headache of going through the difficulties of buying and putting an hardware together. You come up with an excellent idea that, yeah, I want to like build a service like Uber, and that's my domain area. I can think about how I can make a delivery service, whether it's for food or whether it's for something else, work better. But I need infrastructure for it. And if there was no cloud, it would take months and months and probably years to get for me to get up and running, and I would probably lose uh, the opportunity in the market. And it's important always to land in the market at the right time, and that's kind of time to market is critical, and that advantage and that edge you get with the cloud. Perfect answer. Option E. Have gone a bit more than just analyzing options. I think it's a key concept for you to answer probably any other question in the similar area. Question number 41, answer is option B and option E, the examples of elasticity here. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 42, a company is setting up an AWS identity and access management on an AWS account. Which recommendation compiles with IAM security best practices? So we are in a security domain now. Read the question and mark your keyword. You can pause the video if you like. Hope you have read the question. Let's go to the keywords. There are a couple of keywords I marked. Essentially, we need to know what's the recommendation from an IAM perspective and IAM best security practices. Let's go and analyze each and every option. So the first one, option A, talks about use the account root access, user access keys for administrative tasks. Now, as part of when you go through IAM security best practices or IAM topic, one of the most important aspect is the principle of least privilege. Do not give anybody access to any resource than anything more than they need. Give them minimal access. Don't go overboard. And whether it is about a particular role or a resource, give what is needed. Now, as part of this, if a user needs a regular user access with a certain amount of power on it, then why would you risk it by giving root user access? If user has full access, they might be able to uh, delete the whole things. If the root user gets compromised, attackers can take complete control of the account, and they can probably get rid of your application itself. So it's a complete no, absolutely not allowed, and I won't recommend this to anybody. So do not use root user access for administrative tasks. Create an admin user with the privileges that it needs. So this is an incorrect answer. It's a major security risk. And when your systems get audited, if you have gone through an on-prem audit, you would see people do look for this, where if you have any users, if the root user access is being misused or used for incorrect purposes, and amount of time the root user passwords, etc., gets rotated. Let's move to the next option. Option B, it says grant broad permissions so that all company employees can access the resources they need. Exactly against the policy that I said. Principles of least privileges. Do not give anybody access more than what they need. So this is an incorrect answer. Complete no. No, I won't recommend this to anyone. You need to create granular user level access and give whatever access is needed to a certain user to do their job, just enough to do their job, nothing more. So this is an incorrect answer, so we rule this out. The third option, option C, says turn on multi-factor authentication, MFA, for added security during the login process. Now this looks like a correct recommendation, and that's what AWS recommends. In fact, nowadays every business recommends, every technology recommends, every banks recommend, and there is a compliance depending on which country you live. There is compliance that you cannot just rely on a user ID and a password mechanism. You want the second factor of authentication. So the first factor is your password that you have entered, and typically it's categorized in two things. It's something that you know and something that you have with you. So something that you know becomes the first factor, which is, say, the password that you have on a particular account, and then you have to because that can get compromised. So it needs to be padded with an additional factor, which is something that you have with you, and typically it's generally a token, or most common these days is you have a mobile, everybody has a smartphone, so you have an app on it, and essentially an OTP token can be sent to your mobile number, or a secure authenticator app, or so in many cases you also have physical tokens people carry, and you have to enter a code from the token that you have, which is is not a permanent one. It keeps changing, and it's time dependent as well. So definitely this is a correct answer for me. And let's move to the option D and see what we have here. Avoid rotating credentials to prevent issues in production application. Now, incorrect. Not the best practice. It doesn't matter. You cannot have the same credentials even in production. If you have a certain security guideline and recommendation that the passwords have to be rotated every 90 days, then you have to change it in production as well. You obviously want to make sure that you do not cause downtime to the system, so you have to do this in a very efficient manner, and you have to have the right process for for rotating the passwords and making sure that application impact is not. But this is an incorrect answer. Rotating credentials regularly is an important security measure, and you should do this. So for this particular question, yeah, we've gone through all the options, and answer is option C, which is turn on multi-factor authentication. So the answer for this question number 42, is answer C, multi-factor authentication. And yeah, this is a new concept that we have introduced. So I'll walk you through the documentation and you send you the link. So multi-factor authentication, you're quite familiar. I think everybody uses this in some shape or form. If you're doing banking, depending on the country you live, you get a kind of a card reader, which is your second factor, or you have an additional app. This scheme comes in various format. People who work in technology will be aware of these security keys that you use on top of your VPN. Authenticator apps, these are pretty common as well with Google, Microsoft authenticators, or you have a hardware, tokens, and these are also pretty common. So that's MFA for you. Please go through the link, just go through various aspect of it so that you're familiar and you can answer any questions related to MFA in future. That's it on this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 43. An e-commerce company has migrated its IT infrastructure from an on-premise data center to the AWS cloud, which cost is company's direct responsibility. So please mark your keyword. We have done this in past, a similar question. I hope you have marked your keywords. So here are our keywords. So essentially, we want to know, what cost is company's direct responsibility. So with respect, this is essentially a question on AWS shared responsibility, but now we are talking about cost aspect as opposed to anything else. But when you're responsible for a particular, you're responsible for almost everything. So the rule that we have seen earlier in previous episodes on similar questions, anything to do with infrastructure and underlying hardware is AWS's responsibility, and anything which is at application level, that's customer's responsibility. Now, hence I have highlighted a keyword in option A as well. Cost of application software license, absolutely. This is customer responsibility because application is customer's responsibility. So if you need a particular software in order for your application to run, then you need to buy that yourself. AWS is not going to provide it. However, if we're talking about buying software for underlying infrastructure, you have a specific software requirement, OS requirement on the servers, then that's the responsibility of AWS. So option A is correct answer, but we will go through other options as well. Second is cost of hardware infrastructure. It's given hardware infrastructure is bought by AWS. Even you do pay on pay-as-you-go basis, or if you've done reserved instances, etc., you pay slightly different way. But indirectly you pay, but procuring the hardware and buying it, etc., is AWS's responsibility. You are not paying for a server on ongoing, on demand basis. So this is cost of AWS. They will obviously charge all the customers who are using that hardware, and that's as per the pricing policies of services that AWS has. So this is incorrect answer for me. For the reason I've told you, underlying hardware infrastructure is AWS's responsibility. Third one, cost of power for the AWS servers. Now, if the servers is responsibility of AWS, providing power to the servers is also responsibility of AWS. You will be in turn be paid for the services used as similar to option B, but this is not this you cannot get the electricity bill of the service is not going to go to the customers. Yeah, they will be charged for the usage of the service as per the contract agreement. Incorrect answer. And the final one, absolutely no again. Cost of physical security of AWS data center. Physical security is AWS's responsibility. It's their hardware. They have built the buildings. If the security required, the automation, the security, the personnel, the manual labor, people who are needed to guard the data center, everything, including all the automated solutions, security solutions, it will be all AWS's responsibility. Customers won't be paying directly. They will be, as I mentioned earlier, paying for the services that you get for the whole package. So correct answer for question 43 is option A. They'll be paying from these given options. It will be the cost of application software licenses. Let's go through AWS documentation for this. We have seen this earlier. Anything underlying hardware, the orange color, that's AWS. Anything blue, which is mostly around application configuration, accesses, everything around application level, it's all customer. Question 44, a cloud practitioner needs to obtain AWS compliant reports before migrating an environment to AWS Cloud. How can these reports be generated? Please read the question, pause the video if you need, highlight the keywords. You read the question. The main keyword here is AWS compliant reports. And you need to know this service. It's an important area. And I won't expect you to kind of eliminate the options and then get to the correct answer. Anything to do with AWS compliance reports, it's stored in AWS Artefact. That service is meant for it. If you need evidence, you need to go to AWS compliance reports and download that report. It's readily available. It's all self-service. So the correct answer is that. But yeah, we'll go through all the options. Option A, contacting compliance team. Okay, they can give you answers about general compliance questions, but they cannot generate reports for you because they have created a service. Because this is required by everyone. Whenever you have your company audit and you need something of a report. This is quite a frequent report. AWS has hundreds and thousands of customers. They are not going to have this in a manual way. This is easy. The service has been built for it. It will go do an audit and will give you a report whether your application is compliant on the whole infrastructure, including the application, is it compliant or not. So first one is incorrect for me. Option B, download the reports from AWS Artifact. Perfect. This is the answer we just discussed. This is the correct answer for this. And you need any kind of compliance reports. We have a service for it. If there is a portal, it's self-service. You go there, you download your reports, and then submit wherever you need to for your own audit requirements. So that's the correct answer. But yeah, let's go through other options and see why they are not the right answers here. Open a case with AWS support. Again, if you do this, they can help you with troubleshooting, resolving some technical issues, but generating compliance reports is not their job because they have service for it. So this is incorrect. And generate the reports, final option, option D in Amazon Messi. Now, Amazon Messi is nothing to do with compliance. It's a security service that will help you identify and classify sensitive data. So that's the purpose of Amazon Messi. And we've gone through this service and the documentation of this service in previous episodes. It's not a service meant for generating compliance reports. So incorrect answer. So correct answer for question number 44. If you need compliance reports in a AWS world, you need to go to AWS Artifact. That's your option B. So question number 44, final answer is answer B, AWS Artifact. Let's go through some documentation around this. So here is the reference documentation for AWS Artifact from AWS documentation. You can just go through it and then you find out, but the key from an examination perspective, and there are questions coming up on this quite regularly, and it's an easy scoring area. If you need anything to do with compliance reports, you just go for this. Find AWS Artifact from the options. Sometimes they do mix and match with the advisory services so that you get confused. Anything to do with compliance, just you have to go for and look for AWS Artifact, and that's your answer. That's it on this question. Let's move to the next question. Question number 45, which AWS service or feature identifies whether an Amazon S3 bucket or an IAM role has been shared with an external entity? Now, this is another identity and access management question. Read the question, highlight your keywords, and yeah, take a stab at what could be the right answer. can pause your video if you like. I hope you've gone through the question, highlighted the keyword. Now, in this case, there is not a single keyword. There's whole half of the sentence is a keyword. Essentially, we want to know, which service we can use to identify whether an Amazon S3 bucket or an IAM role has been shared with an external entity. First one is AWS Service Catalog. Now, AWS Service Catalog is a service that helps you manage and govern organizations' IT infrastructure. So it's just kind of a catalog of books equivalent to in your library. You have a service catalog, a book catalog, and you have a service catalog here. It will help you organize stuff, but it's not going to help you identify if we have shared a resource with an external entity. So not the correct service. So I will rule this out for that purpose. Option A is not correct answer. Next one is AWS Systems Manager. It will help you manage and automate your AWS resources. So you have your systems, you have your resources. This is a manager for that, but it's not. It doesn't have an ability to identify resources that whether that are shared with the external entity. So incorrect answer again. Third one, AWS IAM Access Analyser. Now this one appears to be, the name gives it away. It does, this service does help you to identify resources in your organization and accounts such as Amazon S3, Amazon IAM roles, and if they are being shared with an external entity. This helps you identify even unintended access to your resources and data, which is a security risk. So it kind of comes in that way from an managing security perspective. So very good service from a security perspective. And this is the correct answer for this particular question. But yeah, we'll look at the last one as well, AWS organizations. And we have seen in previous questions, like what is the purpose of AWS organization? Essentially, it gives you an ability to organize your multiple AWS accounts for an organization under one single umbrella called organization. And it obviously also gives you benefit from an volume discount on the usage that are happening across all the accounts, because they get kind of aggregated at a top level, at an organization level. So correct answer, the option D is incorrect. So our correct answer for this particular question is option C, AWS IAM Access Analyser. That's the correct answer. So correct answer for this particular question is option C, AWS IAM Access Analyser. Let's go through some reference documentation around this. Identity and access management. And if you go to this particular section under logging and monitoring, you would see the highlighted part here. Access Analyzer is used to identify the resources in your organization and accounts, such as Amazon S3 buckets or IAM roles that are shared with an external entity. Word to word, it's similar in the question. So yeah, that's it on this question. And I believe that was the last question in this particular episode. That brings us to the end of this episode. I'll see you in the next episode of this series soon. If you enjoyed this content and want to stay updated on future episodes, then please subscribe to this channel. Your support motivates me to continue producing high quality content in this area. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next episode of this series.